I'm Ed Bennett, the design director at Colle+McVoy here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We really want to dig into the history of any company we do when we rebrand and figure out what they're about and what their soul is, why they exist, and make that connection. And so it's not empty promises, it's not making up something, it's really figuring out, in all the clients we work with, it's working with the client to figure out how to tell that story. What they always have the story, they know the story, and sometimes they have trouble expressing it. So we're there to really dig in and pull that out to say, this is why people should believe in you. When we came onto the project, we were tasked with the rebrand, but in that same time period, we had to do all the work that they needed for the next year. We came on to the project in the spring, and we quickly had to produce creative work for that spring, summer, fall, holiday, and then beyond into January, February, not really knowing what the brand was yet, not having a feel for what the brand voice was, how to talk to the customer. And so while we were producing that, we used those windows as opportunity to test headlines, to test concepts, see how people and the client reacted to them. So when it was time to go back and address the rebranding, we had a little bit more knowledge of what the client is going to like, what they're not going to like, what's going to play out in the marketplace. So we use that to our advantage. Sure, it's important to know when we ask clients what do they like, it's equally as important to know what they don't like. It helps us avoid bringing those things to the table. So it's just like, I always use the food analogy, and we also bring mood boards to the table to say, what do you think of this stuff? And if someone asks you to come to dinner, you say, what can I bring? And they'll either say, bring this, or they'll say, we're making this. So you try and bring something that's going to accompany that. The more information you can get, the better you can plan ahead. So we always ask questions, show them other materials. We show them other people's manifestos and brand voice, and talked about other brands to say, do you want to be like this brand, or do you want to be like this brand, or do you want to be like that brand way over there? And they say, no, not that brand way over there, because they do this. And that's insightful for us. So they say, we're more comfortable being like this brand, but we wish we had a little bit of that. And they say, what about that brand do you like? Well, we like that they do this, they act that certain way, or they have these colors, or their logo looks like that. So the more we talk and the more we look at stuff, clients are always pleasantly surprised, but we don't want to have any bad surprises. So really from the beginning, looking at a client's budget and taking that into consideration, similar to, we don't do a lot of TV at the agency. We're not that type of shop, and we talk to our clients about their budgets, and because TV is so expensive to produce and so expensive to buy the media for, we try and get our clients' dollars to go further and work harder. So always with that budget in mind, figuring out where can we get the most touch points, and design or art direct and create toward that. When it comes to the logo, it's yes, you have a new logo, but what are you going to do with it now? Or you have a new website, what are you going to do with it now? Because if you're a new company and you build a website, nobody knows you're there. How are you going to get the word out and let people know that you're there? First, we communicated with people at corporate first, and we created a brand book and distributed it, and they had some other internal communications. But the brand book we produced really gave them a sense. It read like a story, and it told people why Caribou Coffee was getting a new logo and what the brand meant and what it's always meant and what they're going to strive to continue to be. And so and it went out to the baristas and all the employees. So when people came into the store and they say, why did you guys change your logo? They would have an answer. And they would say, what's this on the cup? The baristas would be able to explain, that's our brand coming to life. That's our tagline coming to life. I think with any company and giving money to foundation, there's always a story there, like why that foundation. And the more the customer knows why, even if it's, the founder or the owner or the secretary's son has this relationship or this happened to that person, tell that story, because it humanizes the brand. It makes a connection and people say, oh, now I understand. It's not just giving blindly to a foundation to say, we give X million dollars to a cause. It's making the connection to say, this is why we believe in this cause. Again, partially it has to do with budget. Sometimes a client has this much budget to launch a product. And if it doesn't make sense to have a social component to that, because it's going to cost money to build an app or something, we take that into consideration. The other is its relevance, and whether it's for Caribou Coffee or another client, we have to figure out, what type of social media is the consumer using? Are they more likely to forward an email that they get, or are they tweeting about the brand? Because the classic thing is a client will come and say, we need a Twitter feed, and they're like, who's following you on Twitter? I don't know, but I know it's popular. So it's figuring out what's relevant for that client. I try and look at other sources of stuff. It's easy to look at all the design blogs and the advertising blogs, but you see the same thing that everyone else is seeing too. And it's trying to figure out that backstory and talking to the client and figuring out why they want to change. And it might be just something the client says that says, oh, we did this back then, that was cool because of this, and building on that. We all look at the same trends and color trends and the hot typefaces and stuff, so everyone has access to it. But I think it's the best is when you work with the client and there's that deeper story to tell. There's a richer meaning behind why you chose the design you did.